Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of Wakefield, Massachusetts. This is Dave Mangan, your Veteran Service Officer, with the program called Kilroy Was Here, H-E-A-R. Just like in World War II, when they had to check off all the rivets that were put in the ships, and people kept erasing the check marks. And so Mr. Kilroy from, I think it's Quincy, Massachusetts, decided to use a message that Kilroy was here, and people could not erase it after that. Well, they brought that into the battlefields of Germany and Europe during World War II, and it kept people from getting double dipping on the funding for doing their rivet jobs. Anyhow, welcome aboard here today. We're going to be discussing the Gold Star Wives and Families. It's a program that's offered through the United States government, and here in Massachusetts, we have with us today Marion Dennehy, who was at one time the president of the program. Marion, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Marion Dennehy, and I am the current New England Region President of Gold Star Wives of America. And I've come here to let you know just exactly who we are, because many people do not know. They know the Gold Star Mothers, but they do not recognize what are Gold Star Wives. So I'd like to start off, if it's all right, letting you know this is our 80th year of existence as Gold Star Wives. We were first Wives of World War II, then we were Gold Star Wives of World War II, and eventually we became chartered as Gold Star Wives of America Incorporated.
Now, in 1929, I looked up some history way back, long before our time, I think. Not much, actually. The Congress had passed a law to offer financial compensation to mothers and wives of soldiers killed in the field from 1930 to 33. The government paid for more than 6,000 Gold Star mothers and wives to go to Europe to pay on site for their lost ones at the graveyards.
Yes,
I'm a fountain of useless information sometimes, but this is not useless at all to the right people.
No, that is very nice. I mean, I just like to give you the purpose of the Gold Star Wives.
Please do.
Yes. We were organized in 1945 by 5 women. Marie Jordan Spears got the group together. Eleanor Roosevelt became a member of our group. And they organized because in World War II, when you received word that your spouse had been killed in action, missing in action, if you lived on the base, which most of the women did, because most of the women didn't work back in those days, if you lived on the base, you were given 30 days to exit the home that you lived in. And a lot of these women had never worked. They did not want to go home to their families or their in-laws. And they sort of got together, and 2 or 3 got an apartment. Some would work days, some would work nights, so that there was always somebody to take care of the kids. But the Marie Spears organized initially Wives of World War II to go after our government to get some compensation to these widows for what they had lost, to help them financially.
Sure.
And that is a goal of the Gold Star Wives of America to this day. We fight for benefits and for women to get that are justly due their dependency and indemnity compensation, which we know as DIC.
That's right.
But we have been fighting that for years. There's been a bill. We've been fighting a bill to get through Congress for close to 30 years now.
And legislature, I'm sure.
Yeah, and the legislature for close to 30 years.
Wow.
We're still fighting today.
You know, it's very, it's compensation that's way due, because a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong, if a soldier's come back wounded from battle, not to the point it's going to cause an untimely demise, but in some cases in the last, I'd say 30 years, 40, 50 years, particularly Vietnam and some cases now Afghanistan and Iraq with the burn pits, the lung diseases, the asbestos on the ships, the old vessels they were using back then in the 60s, and things of that nature. It all came together, and the wives and the families many times took care of the veteran who came home and was suffering dearly from all sorts of complications. And they were the homekeepers then. They didn't have the home health care like they do now
Correct.
through VA services. So the wives or the families, they were the ones taking care of the veteran.
Exactly.
And for sometimes 10, 15 years. So when the veteran did pass after that fact, they had to have some sort of compensation. And a unified force like the Gold Star wives and spouses is a tremendous way that this country can come together to support them in many different ways. And I'm sure, as you know and I know as the Veteran Service Officer, there's a lot of people in Wakefield that don't know it even exists.
That's true. That is true.
And getting the word out is important. Go ahead.
And that is true. There are still Vietnam veterans suffering from Agent Orange today that are still alive, and they go from one cancer to another cancer to another. As you know, Dave, you see these veterans. They come to you and what have you. My husband, Richard.
Yep.
Dennehy. He was born in Somerville, but was brought up in Wakefield. He went into the Navy right out of high school. He was in Vietnam from 68 to 69. He was on the riverboats. They did boots on land in forays.
Sure.
He eventually came. Well, he eventually died from Agent Orange. However, when he went to the VA, that was in 1967. When he went to the VA back then, and this is what happened to a lot of the Vietnam veterans. When they went to the VA saying it was caused from Agent Orange, their doctors said it, and it didn't matter. Like my husband, they were told, you can file all you want, but we're going to deny you. And deny them they did. It was awful.
They did. It was horrible. I had a client about 5 years ago, and she was out in western Massachusetts living there, and her husband died. He put in 2 claims in 2007 on the Agent Orange. They denied both times, and the daughter had picked up the genetic coding, and she passed as well. And she said to me she buried her daughter with her husband and moved out here, and it ended up in Wakefield, not knowing. And she had got to a point her indigencies were strangling her. She couldn't barely get by, SNAP and all that, and 115, which I will and have discussed on the show before, and I will be doing more of that, of course. But and anyhow, I reopened her case for her, and they never closed it. You see, they don't close a case if it's been filed.
Right.
And lengthy time goes by and it gets reopened and they realize they made a mistake or the legislation had passed to recognize Agent Orange.
That's true, too.
She got well over $250,000.
Well, that's fantastic. When my husband went, they denied him, and I begged him to go back in and just file the claim anyway. Let them deny you, but at least you have, and he would not. He said, if the VA says no, the VA says no. I said, ugh, it was very frustrating. But I know a lot of my Gold Star sisters have gone through this, have gone through the filing, as you say, 2 and 3 and 4 times before they finally get
the rightful compensation
and
they're entitled to.
Right. Exactly. And so many of those that have died of suicide are just denied outright. And I have one of my Gold Star sisters that actually the compensation that her husband got when he got separated from the Army, every dime she had, after he committed suicide, which they blamed on her. They said it was her fault. She finally had a lawyer that got her what she deserved.
Right.
But that's what these poor women go through.
And the lawyers get a cut, but they have VSOs out there now that people have to be aware of.
Yeah, and there is legislation going through to make it easier for those that die of suicide to get this compensation.
If they filed for post-traumatic stress disorder, or if they were known to have it and they were getting therapy, it has passed. They can get the DIC now for suicide.
Well, this particular girl, her husband was getting therapy.
Okay.
And then they said we can do no more for him. And they separated him. he committed suicide after they would never allow her to go into any sessions with
Right.
him or anything. But he did. But there's just so many of them.
Absolutely.
And I like to say, a lot of people still believe that a gold star means you were killed in action.
Right.
Or
right.
you were wounded in action and eventually died due to those wounds. But the fact is that those that die from Agent Orange and burn pits and that kind of toxic waste, and those that die from suicide, all of these guys and girls signed on the same dotted line to protect this nation.
That's right.
And they deserve the same compensation.
Absolutely.
And they should not have to fight for it like they do. It's a shame.
It's evolving, though. That's why 5, 6, 7 years ago almost, when I came on board doing this, and I didn't go looking for this job, and it magically appeared when I was invited to go to Washington, D.C. to see the wall. Karen Burke, the director of the senior center here in Wakefield, she was working in Melrose at the time. And I had gone over to get an increase in my benefit due to the fact that I was married. I didn't know you could get more. And that's $100 more a month. Helps to, I suppose, take her out once in a while. But the point is,
nice. Share
it would be. That's right. Share. Yeah. But so Karen invited me. She says, have you been to the wall? And I said, actually, I haven't, but I'm prepared to go now. I have 3 friends on the wall. One, I was supposed to meet in Saigon to go to Sydney, Australia for R&R, but he was killed. And then a few others. And a lot of adversities happened to all of us there. Of course, we were young kids. We were 19 and 20 years old.
Exactly. You're all
kids. I did some research, and I found out that every day in this country, 390 to 500 Vietnam veterans die each and every day.
Yep. They're going.
It was staggering to me.
They're going. They're slipping
really
away.
Was. Yeah,
and there's still a lot of them that are still suffering. They're suffering. I am on a Facebook page with veterans' wives and spouses. Veteran spouses.
Is there do you know the numbers exactly on the page? That
I
people can
don't
maybe
know
go
how
to that?
many is on there.
I bet if they
I've
went to
never really
Facebook,
checked
social
it.
media, and typed in Gold Star Wives, they'd pop up, I bet. Yeah.
It would.
There you go.
There's several
AI has great
organizations,
experience
but it seems like every day we have a new wife posting that her husband has passed away. And some of them have been fighting cancer for upwards to, as you said earlier, 10, 15, 20 years. I considered my husband lucky. He only suffered for about almost 2.5 years.
It's been 19 years now, hasn't it?
It's been, since he's been gone,
Yes.
it's been 29 years.
29 years.
It was 29 years, October 2nd. And it's hell.
Yep.
I mean, it's hell to lose a child or lose a spouse on the battlefield. I would never take away that pain. But people don't realize the pain that those of us that have to watch our spouses die a little every day, and there's nothing you can do about it.
That's what I admire about the Gold Star wives, especially women and wives and mothers. As you know, I'm a man, so growing up in an all-boys family, my mom, I had one sister who I was petrified of, and she must have weighed 100 pounds soaking wet, all right? The oldest, of course. And, I see the camaraderie and the compassion that's there. That you wouldn't see for guys in a bar, so to speak, hanging out,
Right,
They're not
right.
going to have it for sure. But the Gold Star wives will take a wife that's troubled, and they'll try to console the best they can, and they bring them into the fold, if you will.
Correct.
Okay? And that's vital, especially during times of agony and adversity.
Yes.
And I remember one woman whose husband, she lost her husband, a Vietnam veteran, and she wouldn't go to the bereavement groups or anything. And I kept saying, you got to do this. It's comforting. I had lost my wife 19 years ago, a massive heart attack. And it broke me apart, and I was being challenged by God's challenges to me. What am I going to do now? Am I going to go crazy? Or what am I going to do, And instead, I found that until I let her go totally, I could not bring her back.
Correct.
And I said to this friend, I said, when you let him go, I said to her a couple of things. She said, that's not going to bring him back. That's not going to bring him back. And I said, you don't want to bring him back. You want to let him go. because then he will come back. And he'll come back in such great memories, laughter, and some of the arguments. You gotta, and the makeup. That's always the part of the memories.
True.
When love was there.
True.
And I've often heard that there is no love without sacrifice.
Right. And, when we, at the Gold Star Wives of America, what we try to do is we try to bring the new members, all of our members, we try to bring them up away from the grief.
Yes.
And show them that there's more and that you will never lose those memories and those feelings for your husband. They'll always be there, but he wouldn't want you to waste away.
Right.
You can go out and do things, and that's why we are out all the time trying to do things for the veterans. That's another part of the Gold Star Wives of America purpose, to take care of our veterans and to take care of their families and their children. That's some of the things that we have been doing for 80 years, or trying to do for 80 years. It was part of our purpose from the beginning. And we don't say, try to keep people in grief. You can't stay grieving. You have to find something with purpose
Well said.
to help you to go forward. And yeah, you're going to have those days, most definitely. You're going to have those days that you drive down the street, a song comes on, you have to pull over,
I once got pulled over by a cop because Nancy's favorite song came on the radio. And I realized I was going 45, 50 miles an hour. And the cop pulled me over. He said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I just lost my wife recently, and her song came on the radio." And he said, "Well, my dad comes by here a lot, and please, slow it down. I understand what you're saying." And he had lost some as well. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, I mean,
But
that's
right.
what we try to tell the wives. And we call each other sisters because we become sisters. We become that close, or I should say, that's the way it is here in Massachusetts anyway. We're very lucky because Massachusetts is very, very good, not only to its veterans, but to its Gold Star family members.
Wonderful to hear that.
They are wonderful. And having that support means a lot. Governor Baker used to say, I don't care what the event is, I can always count on my Gold Star wives being there. And we support our government officials, and they support us right back.
Well, that's it. That's a key part of it.
It is a key part.
I was wondering, I wanted to ask you this question, too. I wasn't aware of it, but is there a card, similar to like a VA card that veterans get, that would offer the Gold Star spouses or family members a discount at a supermarket like Lowe's or a Home Depot or anything?
No.
That hasn't been...
No, there is nothing.
Okay,
There is nothing. They just... we don't look for it.
No, you
it's
don't.
Nice, it's nice if we get it.
Right,
but
right.
we don't look for it. But we do whatever we can. I mean, we have some of my sisters, especially in the South Shore. We don't have a lot that we can find up here in the North Shore. We keep looking. But we do find some things where the food banks for the veterans, they go and volunteer there. We have a group that puts together boxes every Christmas for the veterans to send overseas. A lot of us, even from the North Shore, go down because it's a huge undertaking. And anything like that we can find that they're looking for help, we try to have somebody there. It might only be one or two of us, or sometimes it might be 10 of us.
That's a family affair.
But we try to do every single thing that we can find that we can be a part of to help out our veterans and our Gold Star families.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I mean, I could see that if a program were to start to that degree, I've been doing the discounts for veterans here in Wakefield now for about 5 years, and we've got over 90 stores that do that.
Which is wonderful.
We've loved it, and I've been a little bit slow in getting this done, but I got to print out it and put it in the veterans corner of the item, because we recently had 4 or 5 more that came on board.
Wonderful.
And, some are 10%, some are 20%. I know that Anthony's Coal Fire Pizza there in Reading, they were doing a good 50% for the most expensive item. A year and a half ago, they did 50% off the entire bill, not counting alcohol, of course, for any veteran. And they had to bring it down. They had to knock it down because of the economy and things. Exactly. Now they're at the point where they give 10%. I believe it's on the whole order.
Yeah.
But they have a decal. I have to order more of them. The stick-on things that can peel off that say we honor veterans and give a discount here. And most times you have to say to them at the register, do you offer a discount for veterans here? And if they say yes, we do, and most of them will, they'll say yes, we give 10%. Okay, Wee's, the Chinese food restaurant over there by Caporale's,
yeah.
does 10% right there. I mean, I could go on the list; it's lengthy, but
But
you
I
have
mean,
to ask.
any little thing like that,
Mm-hmm.
as small as it may seem, it means a lot.
It sure does.
It's you are honoring that person signed on the dotted line to defend this country
and
to
your
put
your
their-
freedoms, your
and
democracy.
your freedoms,
That's it.
and they put their life on the line.
yep.
So although it may seem small, it says to them, "We care about you," and so that I think. When you started doing that, which I know when it was, because
We're there.
I thought, wow, if this goes along, this is going to be a very nice thing for the veterans.
It is. Do you ever hear of the Gold Star Fathers Act that was signed in 2014?
Never.
Yeah, it's something I found. I stumbled on it today. If you don't mind me, we don't
No,
look at it here.
I
It
don't.
says,
I don't mind.
it would include, as a preference, eligible for federal employment purposes of a parent, currently the mother only, of either an individual who lost his or her life under honorable conditions while serving in the armed forces during a war, in a campaign or an expedition for which a campaign badge had been authorized, or during the period beginning on April 28th, 1952, and ending July 1955. That must have been part of the Korean conflict there.
Oh, yeah,
Or a service-connected
exactly.
permanently and totally disabled veteran. If the spouse of such parents is totally and permanently disabled, or such parents, when preference is claimed, is unmarried or legally separated from his or her spouse, then that was part two. Okay, Senator Brown, who introduced the bill, said that when a service member is killed in action or permanently and totally disabled, the government should do its part to be there for grieving parents, no matter if they're fathers or mothers.
True.
So they'll get preference, I imagine, for jobs, for job opportunities.
I would guess.
That's what that was about, I guess, 2014. It goes back 11 years ago.
And
So.
now, and I'll mention it to you because you obviously know about it as a VSO. I mean, there are all across Massachusetts. Unfortunately, there are people that think that this is a blanket thing, but the most wonderful thing, and I am a recipient, and I can't tell you how much it means to me as being on a fixed income. This town is one of them that gives the Gold Star mothers and wives, and they give you on your property taxes. You
Okay.
don't have to pay property taxes.
That's amazing, yeah.
And that is amazing. That is, I have other sisters throughout Massachusetts who don't have to pay any. Some of them get a 50% break. Some
Right,
of them get a.
right.
But there was legislation at one time that we thought was going to go into effect, but it never got through
there's
both houses.
150
As
of them,
usual,
yeah.
it never got. So it's per town, city. They have to
Right.
make this. But I have to say, something that makes me sad, and I had an incident of this down in Hull. I went down for a veterans coffee, and at that coffee, we had two counselors from Hull who attended the coffee, and they were very happy to announce that Hull was no longer going to be charging property taxes to Gold Star mothers.
Wow.
I can't tell you how angry I was. And Wolfie, who was running the coffee, saw me and he said, Marion, I think you need to come up here and talk. And I said, what I need to say to people, and they don't understand it. And that's fine,
Yeah.
but to make them understand, I said to them, when a mother loses her son or
yeah.
daughter, she has a father standing next to her for support, both emotionally and financially.
Right.
they're together. Their loss is together. When a wife loses her spouse, she loses almost 75% of her income.
Absolutely.
She does not have that emotional support next to her. And I don't understand why it's only Gold Star mothers. The mothers have two of the basic things that you need to go through this grief. And while I take nothing away from losing a child,
Right.
that's not my purpose.
Right.
I do know what the women, because I've done it, I've been there, I've been one of them, have to go through when they lose their spouses and lose that income. Even if they work, they're losing that income. And it's not easy to get by. And I can tell you financially, I've been there. I'm still there.
And the calibration
You
of
know.
emotions, be it through the child or the mother or the wife, okay, for that matter, it's indicative of how sometimes a system will work, trying to categorically get it into perspective.
Right.
And you made a very good point there that I think should be looked at. I would like to see at some point, like in Florida, 100% disabled veterans, the whole state, not town by town or province. In Massachusetts, for example, 100% disabled veteran, and the spouse, of course, zero in Bill Ricker, zero taxes.
Yeah.
And different towns have different amounts. And
Exactly.
they need to standardize that, I think, for the
Yes,
state.
absolutely.
It'd
It
make so
should
much
be.
easier. And, Massachusetts started veteran benefits in
Yes.
1636. Believe it or not, before our 1776.
Right, yeah. We've been in the forefront all
Right,
along.
yeah,
Massachusetts has.
I think it was a battle they had with an Indian tribe. I can't remember the name of it. God forgive me for that. I knew what it was. 3 o'clock in the morning, I remember it.
Yeah. Don't call me.
Oh, no. No, they did. That's when they started doing benefits, and then Massachusetts was the forerunner of that. And in 1638, the Ancient Honorable Society in Boston, Faneuil Hall, as a matter of fact.
Wonderful group.
They are a wonderful group. I was inducted into that, but
Oh, good for you.
yeah, 3 times. But I kept saying no because they're just all wealthy people, and very basically they are very wealthy. Back in the day, it was aristocrats, I guess. And I said to them, they offered me the free uniform, and Joe Morano, he owns the Oyster House, and my wife used to care for his mother when she used to sit there at the doorway years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago when she was nursing in the North End. But it's it's indicative, I think, of the freedoms we have in America to pursue better venues for our soldiers who fought to keep us where we are.
Right.
And to some degree, make it known. A lot of people, they don't know the history of what took place to get us where we are today.
Right.
And knowing that, and not understand. Yeah, another thing before I forget, let me change the subject, but there's a Gold Star license plate that's available too.
Yes.
That a lot of wives and spouses don't know about.
Well, no,
And-
because originally, when I became a Gold Star wife, when I finally got the DIC, which, by the way, they finally approved, even with my husband's medical records saying Agent Orange on
Right.
them, they finally approved it for the asbestos support ship.
Yes,
He was
they
a
did.
yeoman. He was
Yep.
down below, and it was all over it. They went into Bremerhaven to have it removed just before he went to Vietnam. But, people don't, lost my train of thought.
It's okay because the tinnitus, another thing, Navy particularly, the machinist mates down below
Yes,
deck
the
with the
tinnitus.
turbines, they're
Right.
entitled to a 10% for tinnitus. And they come into my office sometimes and they say, well, I have this ringing in my ears all the time. Well, what'd you do in the military? Well, I was a machinist below deck. And I used to sleep down there too sometimes. All day long, the turbines, high-pitched spinning.
And during the those back in the World War II and during Vietnam
Mm-hmm.
and all that, the Navy they didn't always have the
Air protection,
earphones
right,
and the
air
air
protection,
protections
right.
that they have now.
Right.
So that's not unheard of that they would get something like that.
They get the
that would-
compensation for
Yeah, so
that.
they
I mean, it's
should
like an
get it.
insurance policy that the government has,
Absolutely, Absolutely.
And I hate to see people say, oh, I'm fine. This guy's in worse conditions. There are, and they know that. And they do compensate for that.
Exactly.
But you're not doing great either. You have inner ear damage from the turbines.
Exactly.
And you don't notice till you're aging when that inner ear starts to vibrate on a different level causing all these shock waves and the sound like the air conditioner's running all the time, you know?
Right.
And people, your wife or husband think you have selective hearing, when in fact you just don't.
No,
hear
no,
it,
and people
you know?
don't understand, like you're saying, people don't understand what goes on, like in a Navy ship below deck.
Exactly,
They don't understand what they're dealing with and what thankfully, I believe every ship now from the Navy that had asbestos has either had it removed
Right.
or it is been decommissioned.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure all of them are gone. But back then, that was there.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That
Even
was
in the shipbuilding places in Charlestown,
Yeah.
the Navy Yard there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were facing the same thing. So all of these things that they're not frivolous. And
No.
some people may think that some of the veterans go just because I want money. No, they don't understand that they earned this through
Right.
their service to their country, and these things have happened, whether it be toxic exposure or, as we say, to the machinery when they did before they had proper protection. They just don't understand, and they really should do a little research and see exactly why these guys are saying, going to the VSOs, God love them, who are so overworked. And you
I'm
guys
30
are.
hours now, so I got more time. It's much easier.
But
there.
you're still, there's not enough time in the day.
There
for,
isn't.
and
And you
for
know,
all the veterans.
there are stolen valor cases. And once you've done this for about, as a job like I do, after about 8 to 12 months, you can see the differential. You said something about how some people think, oh, they just go in for the money. Well, some do come in just for the money.
Yeah, well,
And actually, you know, an experienced VSO will know that.
yeah, you can
And
pick 'em
stolen
out.
valor is a felony now in the United States.
Ah,
You can do prison time.
I
That's
did
right.
not know
oh yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. There was a guy about 5 years ago. It was brought up 5 years ago, and he had wore all these medals and everything, and said he was here, there, and everywhere, and he had the medals on wrong, and a couple other things on wrong. So a chief master sergeant approached him and asked him about it, and he was called stolen valor, and he took him to court. I guess he did 2 or 3 years in jail for it.
Ah,
I gotta
well.
get the name of that guy for you next time. But
anybody that does something like that deserves to go to jail.
you know, I'm going to give you an example, gentlemen. He didn't drive, and he had a VA card. And he came to my office, and I says to him, wow, what's going on? He said, well, I have all these problems from Agent Orange. I was in Vietnam. I said, where were you? I was up country. Oh, it's a big country.
Yeah.
I said, for a little country, it's a big country. I said, whereabouts? Be more specific if you can. Well, I was in a riverboat, and I did some damage. He said, I did some damage with a shell that came out of my .50 caliber gun, hit me in the eye. And then I had this, and now I have Agent Orange problems. So I said, where's your DD-214? You have it? No, I don't have it. I said, well, I need that as a key to open the door here for you. I said, where did you enlist? He goes, Salt Lake City, Utah. So I called the VSO there, and I gave him I was right there, and he had 2 folks from the SAVE team. And it was a SAVE team. It was a group of people from the Boston office that come in to get him there. He didn't drive.
Yeah.
And he had an external bag and all that. He had some issues health-wise, and the VA's been taking care of him. So then I said to him, well, you're in Vietnam. What'd you think of the Green? He goes, yeah, I was a Navy SEAL. I said, really? Oh, please, okay. Marion, I'm telling you right away, there was only 600 there for the whole time of Navy SEALs. So I said to him, so what'd you think of them calling you the Green Faces? Oh, I didn't mind that. I says, well, you know what that means? Well, I'm not sure, but camouflage? I says, well, actually, in the evening, you guys will go at night to hunt the Vietnamese with the ROCs, the Republic of Korea. They call them the ROCs.
Yeah.
And they were night warriors. Anyhow, they were crazy, I think, but that is my opinion.
Well,
but
the Navy SEALs weren't on the riverboats.
they were not in riverboats. That's right. They were brought there by riverboats, perhaps, and let go.
They, were not, they did not serve on the riverboats.
Right.
They weren't river rats.
Well, I got it when I said to him, well, you want to put a claim in here to get the VA to give you some money, get you off your feet. I said, you want them to pay you an MPC or dong? What's MPC? That's military payment certificates during the counterfeit times. You had to get the MPC when you went in town or when you went to shop in the villages of the towns.
Okay.
And he didn't know what it was. He didn't know what dong was. And dong was the currency. It's a nickel in Vietnam. That's 5 cents. Like in Thailand, it was baht. And in Vietnam, it's called dong, okay?
Oh,
Actually, I have a
well,
couple.
I have 3 of those, so
Do
now
you?
I
Do
know
you?
what they're called.
Yeah, it's dong. And, well, of course, we were kids, so it was jokes about it all the time.
Yeah.
But he didn't know what it was. So I thought maybe he had dementia going on, so I didn't pursue embarrassing the kid.
Yeah.
The guy, he was in his 70s. And the people with him, I said, he doesn't live in Wakefield, he lives in Winchester. See, they thought he was Wakefield. He wanted to go on 115
okay.
and get established with the benefits and everything else. He never said he never put a benefit in. And I contacted the Providence office while they were there, and Tom said, no, Dave, he's not real. So, and when I talked to the guy in Salt Lake, Utah, he said, no, he enlisted in the Coast Guard, was in California for about 3 months, and got discharged. So I said, okay, thank you. And I didn't say that, I didn't want to speak or anything. I was talking
No,
privately.
yeah, but at least, yeah, I suppose there are
But
ways.
it happens.
You can, yeah, that
Yeah.
it does happen. But for the most part, these veterans are looking for what's due
Oh, yeah.
them.
And you know what? The qualified veteran service officer can find out.
Right.
And we're there to help them. And the search will go on until we get that taken care of.
Right.
And some folks in the VA who make the comp and pen valuations, some of them are, quicksilvered, and they push it along. But a good VSO never gives up. They never give up because they're
No.
usually not there for the money.
No.
And that's we just had
Certainly you're not.
we had our training. We have training twice a year,
Uh-huh.
a summer training and winter training.
Yeah.
And we just had it in Leominster, Mass. And there's 160 of us in Massachusetts, between 150 and 160. And I had a call up to Vermont recently and trying to get a veteran service officer. And I says, I'm looking for the veteran service officer in this particular county. And she says, oh, there's only 6 of us in the state. I said, what? Oh, yeah, they're all in the hospital. We have them in the hospitals, but loosely we're on the. He goes, you people have more population than we do.
Well, I think I do believe that we're the only state that requires
Yes.
VSOs in every single county, town,
Well, we have
whatever.
learned to do districts, which we just broke up because
yeah.
Wakefield now has over 12,000 people
Right.
in it. That's right. That's CMR 108, 12, Chapter 3, Section 3.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I had broken away from the district just last July because we needed to. Prior to that,
Right.
And I even said to my administrator, Marion, she's at the senior center, wonderful gal, folks, go see her. And I said to her after my first year, I like this job. I'm going to see if I can be here the longest. She said, you already have
You
been.
already have been,
I
yeah.
said, what? Now I was
They-
on a mission.
They
Why?
didn't last long.
Why
I'll
am
tell
I
ya.
with
They
it?
didn't last
I had to
long.
find out why. That was driving me nuts.
Yeah.
And I had retired, so I was ready to do something. I was getting fidgety to most of my stuff already. But it worked out good, and I found out why. It was a blivet. 5 pounds of crap in a 1 pound bag. Too much work and not enough time,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
But I had that situation in some of the areas I served in the military where you had to be precise in not only getting the job done, make sure it was done correctly. And
Right.
I had F-105 Thunder Chiefs that I had 3 aircraft I was the crew chief on. And I had 3 per revetment. And we had to be precise. Every tool had to be counted because you can't leave a screwdriver in the cockpit.
Oh, I hope
And
not.
no, pilot would come back one time, and he had the screwdriver in his hand. He goes, "Who did my inspection of my cockpit?
Yeah,
He fixed
right.
it, whatever." And the kid walked over, and he knocked him out cold. And he said, "The kid got up. What'd you do that for?" He says, "This is your screwdriver, right?" "Yeah, you found it." He goes, "Yeah, and it could have killed me if I had to eject, and I couldn't get out of the plane because
Yeah.
the screwdriver was stuck. You know what? That's the kind of thing you put up. But military service, I think that every spouse, husband, wife, family member who has sacrificed, as you said, in the procurement of peace and honor and the respect they rightly deserve, okay, has the passion and compassion, you might say, for keeping America great for what it is.
Absolutely.
You know, that's it.
Absolutely. And they are all to be honored.
Yeah, yeah.
They honorably serve, and they are to be honored. And
It's only
that is
1% of
something-
the population, that are active.
Now, yeah.
And
it
when
is
they're doing it, yeah.
And it's going to be less, but
afraid
we won't
so.
go into that.
Well, no. Well, there's also Space Force, which I think
Yes.
Space Force is going to be something else. I
Yeah,
mean, it really
that
is.
That is.
That's how the futures will.
That's
oh, my
growing.
goodness.
That's growing all
Yeah,
the
they're
time.
talking about going to the moon now, the other side of the moon for a change, you know.
It's going to
Well,
be
if
interesting.
I'm amazed at how far we've come exponentially in technologies
Yeah.
and whatnot. So we're there, and I only hope that the Gold Star families exponentially get more than that's out there now.
Well,
we go down the
we'll
road.
be fighting. We've fought for 80 years. We're not going to stop, but we'll be fighting hopefully for another 80 years.
That's
I
it,
mean,
that's it.
As long as, though, like I said, our purpose is to make sure that our veterans are respected and taken care of, and that our Gold Star sisters and families, because we consider the Gold Star mothers as much our sisters as we do our own wives.
Fantastic.
We've all felt the grief. We've all felt the loss. And while it's a different grief and a different loss, it's still the same in many ways. What the mothers have lost, their grief of losing a child is immense.
Absolutely.
But after you've been with somebody for 20, 30, 40 years, losing them is like losing a whole part of you.
Absolutely.
And so that's our grief. But we're all Gold Star sisters. We're
And the
all
good thing
together.
is, they don't have to go through it alone anymore, Marion. They've
No.
got this team that you've created with the folks that you've been working with over the years now. It's elaborate in its own design, in that each individual's different. Everyone suffers differently.
Absolutely.
Everyone goes through this pain differently, because
Right.
it's as they say, you've heard before. Oh, everyone grieves differently. Of course they do. Of course they
do.
do. But some people don't know that. The younger ones don't know that, and the ones who have passed from the Afghanistan situation, or even Iraq now, and some Desert Storm. I mean, those alone, those are the current ones now.
Right.
And it's not to say we're going to have more in the future, but
we
being
hope not.
prepared for that is what we need to do. And to establish that as the Gold Star wives and family members, okay?
Right.
You can establish a foundation on your team and your sisters to ensure that the future is a solid gold comparable
We hope.
area.
We always say we are there for those who need us, but we really don't want any more members
No,
of
I
our
know,
organization.
I know.
We would love to be able to say no more members.
Right.
Because the price you pay to become a member is just awful.
There's a poem that was written by, it was called Dulce et decorum est pro patre more. And it's over the amphitheater at Arlington National Cemetery. And the
Oh, then
poem,
I've probably read it.
and I read it years ago, and I don't know why I was so stuck on it, but it means how sweet and becoming it is to die for your country, when it's better let the other dumb bastard die for his. It's priceless that way.
I haven't read that,
But
but
it's up.
next time
that-
I'm there, I'm
the other
going to
part-
look.
You'll see it. It's over the amphitheater.
I'll have to look. 'Cause
And
I've
I
been
was
to, yeah.
amazed. I saw it there, and I was there with the students from Melrose
Oh my God.
when Mark Silvestri from Revere, Karen, and the Veterans
Silvestri,
Club they have
yeah.
at the high school
Yeah.
went to that, and it was amazing. I was amazed. They did such a wonderful thing. They gave the veterans that were on the way. They were in the back of the bus, all of us, and we're hanging out, and the kids are in the front, and they all read a little dossier. I mean, something about each of us. They
Yeah.
asked us to give them a little profile, so we did, and because it was a long bus ride,
Yeah.
And on the way down, they're asking us some questions and whatnot. And I thought it was fabulous because Mark Silvestri, he was the VSO in Revere, okay? And he's on the bus, and he's a Purple Heart recipient. And we're talking back and forth. And I said, gee, my wife Christine's from Revere. Oh, really? What's her name? And I said, Fulkino, right? And she was the school nurse at Beachmont. I said, that's right. I know the whole family, he says. All right? I said, really? That's amazing. And so I called Christine right away, and she's talking to Mark, how are you, and all this, right? So on the way back, Mark says, Dave, there's a position. They're looking for a VSO in Wakefield. You'd be pretty good for it, And he told me about it. And I said, well, I'll give it a shot. And then Jay Panette and Karen interviewed me, and there was a few people getting interviewed, and next thing you know, here I am.
And the rest is history.
Rest is
Dave.
history, 7 years later, right?
You're still here.
But you find something you like doing when you're seeing, like you said, and that's why you do. You have a passion for helping and assisting where it's needed, because I've been lost on my time. I'm 76 years old. I've had times in my life where I was mad with God. I fought the demons. I had to go through it, and I
do.
suffered terribly.
You do.
And you do that. But when you come out of that storm, It's like, the guy in that movie by Forrest Gump. He's up on the ladder on the mast, and he goes, "You call this a storm?" And he's angry.
Right.
And I'll tell you this, Forrest Gump, there's a joke I heard recently, kind of a joke, it's kind of interesting. Forrest Gump had died and went to heaven. He's at the pearly gates. And St. Peter says, "Now, Forrest, we have to ask you 3 questions to get you into heaven now, because people are kind of sneaking in on us." "Okay, St. Peter, I'm ready." "Okay, Forrest, the first question is pretty easy. What 2 days of the week begin with the letter T?" "Oh, that's easy. Today and tomorrow." Well, we weren't expecting that. Okay, you got us there, Forrest. Here's the next question. It's mathematics. "Oh, I like mathematics, St. Peter, my favorite subject in the school." It was indeed. "Okay, Forrest, how many seconds are there in an entire year?" "Oh, let me think. Okay, that's a long time." "Well, there's 12 seconds in a year." 12? January 2nd, February 2nd, March 2nd. Oh, you got us again, Forrest. All right. Well, this is the toughest question. We always save this for last. What is God's first name? "Oh, I know God's first name. We sing it in the song on Sundays at church. God's first name is Andy." Andy, just like in the song. "Andy walks with me, Andy talks with me." All right, folks, thank you very much for today sharing some of the thoughts. Marion Dennehy, thank you so much
My pleasure.
for coming on board today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And
for
I hope this
having me.
raises the conscious level to any folks in Wakefield and surrounding communities who hear this podcast, that there is hope and we are there for you. And remember that. Signing off, Kilroy was here.